children. So, and we're not counting the little children unless they're like at least 10 years old, because they can eat. Okay, we just want to make sure we have enough for everyone. But that's the whole reason for the money. Okay, again, nobody's making a money off of this. Nobody is making a killing out of this. I'm not making money. My wife is not making money. Cody Stella and Aki Al and Aki Pat, none of us are making money off of this. This is just to make sure that as we organize all of this, we have more than enough to take care of what we need to do, to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch, everything is seamless. And for those of you who are going to be getting immersed during that time, we ask that you bring a change of clothing that you can get immersed in. Bring you some aqua shoes, okay, because you're going to be stepping in living water, all right? And just want to make sure that everything is done in decent and in orderly, okay? Did I forget anything else that I needed to bring up about Pesach? Any of you who are coming have any questions before we get into what we're going to talk about today about the end times? Anybody have any questions? Any questions? By the way, while I'm waiting for anyone having any questions, yes, you did, Gina. I did receive it. Yep. And in fact, let me show you the updated list. So if you see your name here, let me see here. Is that the one? No, that ain't it. Here it is. If you don't see your name here, don't be shocked. I just probably hadn't had a chance to update it yet since yesterday. Okay. Okay, so let me show you. If you don't see your name, just make sure you get with me. For whatever reason, I might have missed you, but I don't think I did. Okay, so here we have. Here's the list, okay? So if you see a double dollar sign, that means that it's paid in full, $200, okay? Notice I have an M and an XL next to my name and my Ashah's name. That's for the t-shirts. So as I get the t-shirt sizes, I'll be putting them in, all right? Okay. So Treese, you can see that you have double dollar bills. Jackie C, dollar bills, y'all. Andy Jepson. So let me say this. I don't know if Andy is here right now. Andy is coming in from England. He is coming in from England. So we're going to actually have a person from overseas be part of the group of the Mishpachah that's coming in to Phoenix. It's going to be so beautiful. Gina, so the double dollar signs mean that each person, those people have paid their $200 per person. If you only see $1 bill sign, that means you've only paid half. And if I didn't update it, yours, Gina, then don't sweat it. I'll make sure to update it if you've already sent total. Yours would be total 400 for you and your hubby, Steve. Let me go back up here. Yeah, so I only have one next to your name. Oh, there's Andy. Shalom, Aki Andy across the pond. Gina, yours, do you see it right there? Dollar and a dollar right now? Dollar bill and a dollar bill, one for you and one for your hubby. So it is 200 per person. And if you've already sent it, it just hasn't reflected. I'll make sure to do that once I go through the paperwork and stuff. But it's going to be awesome. So these are all the peoples that are coming. Okay. And like I said, it's like 53 people altogether so far. And we can't take any more as far as the Airbnb. But if you still want to come, you still want to be a part of it, those of you who live in the Phoenix area, please do come. You don't have anything other than for the food if you're coming for all 3 nights. But if you're just coming for Pesach, just come on through. You don't have to pay anything. Okay. We want you to come in fellowship with us. Yanet, you and your hubby and children, come on through. Whoever else that I'm not thinking of right now. I know there's a few others of you. Brandon, Aki Brandon. We need to get a hold of Aki Brandon. I don't know if he's here. Youngster Aki Brandon, if you're here, you need to come through too, Aki. Come and spend the time with us. and break bread with us on Pesach and unleavened. Okay. Do you ship the t-shirts also? No. Raka Amun. Oh, I can't even say your whole name. I apologize. So if any of you want to get the t-shirt that we're going to be wearing for the Pesach, and you're not coming, please get with our Cody Jackie C. She's the one who is going to be in charge of that. Of course, yours is going to be a little bit more, being that you're not in our group and it's going overseas or it's going to your house. Of course, our Cody Jackie has to be compensated for her time and her effort and her monies and everything else that she's doing. So please get with her. She'll let you know what the price is. And yes, we would love for all of you guys to be rocking it together with us. We're going to be live all 3 days on when we're in Phoenix. And soon as that one's over, we're going to be already getting prepared for Shabuat, which is the Feast of Weeks, also known as Pentecost. Don't know where we're going to hold it yet. It's either going to be here in Vegas at my home or maybe in William. I'm not quite sure yet if we're going to do that or not, only because of the location, because it's not that convenient for a lot of us who may be flying in. So, as we get closer, we'll talk about that later. Angie, yes, you can always get a t-shirt. Just get with our Cody Jackie C, and I'm sure she can make it happen where she can send it out to you. Okay. Okay, Gina. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. Make sure you guys don't send any money tomorrow. For those of you, again, like I told you, make sure that your monies is in by the end of next month, pagan month, February. Okay. The shortest month of the year. Make sure you get it in. We just want to make sure we have everything taken care of, all of our I's dotted, all of our T's crossed. We got to get the food together. We got to get some other logistics stuff together, including the t-shirts. I got to get those taken care of and printed out and sent here to my house, or actually to probably Aki Al's. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But from there, we're going to pass it out once everybody comes to the Airbnb, for those of you who are coming, and we'll give you your shirt then. Okay. Dr. Terry, you didn't know about the Pesach gathering. Cody, where have you been? We was hoping that you was going to come. You haven't heard me make mention of it, Cody? But you can still come. I mean, you didn't? Oh man. Yes, but you can still come. It's just that we won't be able to house you at the Airbnb. Now we're going to get another Airbnb once we get all the monies in. We already got one already, thanks to our Aki Emmanuel. He put the whole money down. Okay. Just to see how Abba Yahuwah is working in our midst. Our Aki put all of it down. And you guys know Airbnb is not cheap, especially when we're talking about the amount of people that's going to be sleeping in these Airbnbs. So they're pretty big, and you got to put the deposit down, and you got to put down deposit for any damages, plus what it's going to cost for the nights. So I mean, that in itself is probably like, he probably had to put like $6,000 off to the side just to have the spot for us. But it's probably going to cost, I think it's somewhere around like 2,400 or something like that for all 3 nights. I'm not sure. Not quite sure. It might be even 3. I'm not quite sure. But whatever it is, we want to compensate our Aki for that. And we're going to have to get another one so we have enough for everyone to sleep in. So we're going to find that one so it's close to the original location. So the original location is where we're going to have the festivities. The other one is going to be just for the other Akodis and maybe a couple Akis to stay there. Most of the Akis are going to be staying with Aki Patiti Yahu and Aki Al, which is going to be me. So just so all you know, those of you who are married, the married couples will not be shacking up together. Okay. We're going to be separated by Akodis and Akis. Okay. So Akodis are going to be staying together and the Akis are going to be staying together. If we have extra Akis and extra Akodis, those are the ones that's going to be in the other Airbnb. But for the most part, we're going to be separated by gender. Okay. So even me and Maya Shah, we're not going to be together. I mean, other than when we come together for the festivities, of course. But as far as where we're going to be resting our heads, we're going to be with the Akis, or I'm going to be with the Akis, and she's going to be with the Akutis, okay, or Akutut. All right. Yes, I'm telling you, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great, great time. Okay. All right. So we got the business out the way. Now let's get into the real business while we're here. We're here because of what Yahuah is doing in our midst, Mishpachah. I am excited, not only because my name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, you should also be excited because your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life and it will not be blotted out. Why? Because we're keeping his commandments to the best of our ability, and we have the testimony of Yahusha in our mouth. So, all that being said, when we was in Aki Ethan, by the way, I want to promote Aki Ethan's live for those of you who can't get enough of Abba Yahuah. And when our Aki Ethan comes on, he comes on TikTok. Please look him up. He goes by the name Ethan, Eathan. I hope I spelled your name right, Aki Ethan. If I didn't, please forgive me. But he has like an open forum, kind of like what I do when I go on TikTok. But his is better because he has people from all over the Iraqs. He's got people from South Africa. He's got people over there in Barbados, like our Aki Lester. He's got people down over in other parts of Africa that I might not even be able to make mention of some of the names of the country because I don't know how to pronounce it. But that's the international group. And I appreciate Abba Yahuah using our Aki Ethan in such a wonderful way. Ethan. Cree, you're like, what? Are you making fun of me, Cree? Because did I spell it that way? I spelled it wrong, didn't I? I meant to spell it as Ethan. That's the way his name is spelled. My bad. Yes. Is that it, Jackie? Jackie C. Ethan Wilson, 4439. Apologies. Aki Ethan, are you here right now? Is he here? I apologize, Aki. But yes, please follow him on TT and any questions you may have. If I can't get to it, definitely go there. You're going to get your questions answered. You got Aki Lester there. He's full of knowledge as the Ruach has given him. Aki Ethan's got a lot of knowledge that has been given to him. Aki Kenneth has a lot of knowledge that's been given to him. Aki Daniel has got a lot of knowledge that has been also given to him. And then our Cody's Mandalove, she's got a lot of knowledge as well. I heard our Cody Vanetta, she's spending time with her child. But I know I'm missing someone else Cody Gina, she's on there pretty constantly. She's also got knowledge that Yahuah has given to her. So please join that group. It's also a fantabulous group to be a part of. We're also going to be having a men's only group. It's going to be Zoom starting next month. I'll be giving out that information as we get closer. It's going to be by appointment only to the Akis. If one of you or Cody's get brought in there, we're gonna have to kick you out with the quickness. With the quickness, I'm just joking. No, but we will have to ask you to leave. But I know none of you will be in there. Just like we don't want to be in y'all's group either. When you guys are talking womanly things, we're going to be talking about manly things, and it's always going to be to help out the mishpachah. Okay. But yes, this is what we're to do. We're to edify each other, uplift each other, to exhort one another, and prop each other up, to help each other get to the finish line, to finish off this walk, because this walk is not easy. It's not easy. Okay, we have some wonderful days. Most of the days are great, but there are some trying times, some trying days. It could be unaliving in the family. It could be maybe your cat or your dog was unalived, or maybe you just lost your job, or maybe you was trying to share the truth with your mom and dad and they didn't like what you said, or your brother or sister and they took it too offensively and they took it personally. So this is what we're here for, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time when it's going to happen to you. When you share this truth, you're going to see how offensive it is to others around you. They don't like to hear truth. They love their traditions rather than the truth. But in all that you share, Mishpachah, all of us, we must do it with love. We must do it with patience. We must do it with long suffering, because again, just remember, you didn't know all this information either, and Yahuah was patient with you. He was long suffering with you. He was merciful to you. And so that's what I remember in my brain when I start talking about information like this. Okay. Now, it's one thing to get hot and heated about the truth. And there's times that that's going to happen. And you will know when to be that way because the Ruach will just be in you. You just can't help it. That heat starts to fire up. And that's the Ruach HaKodesh that is like fire shut up in your bones, like the Nabi Yirmiyahu would say, Jeremiah, and you just have to speak the truth. You can't hold your silence. You have to speak it. That's what we're all called to do. And that's why it's the Ruach that is moving within your system, within your body. It's him, Mishpachah. It is the Ruach. That is the source of life. That is our Abba. He is Ruach. Hallelujah. Yahuah. Okay, so one of the things that we were talking about, which is what I'm going to talk about, we're going to carry on what we were saying in Ethan's live, has to do with end time events. And we were talking about the third temple and the abomination of desolation. We were also talking about the anti-Messiah, everything that goes with the end time events, chemtrails, the wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, earthquakes in diverse places. We were talking about all this kind of stuff, right? But with all that being said, this is the one thing that we cannot forget. The one thing that is important is our spiritual walk with Abba Yahuah. We can have all the knowledge that we want about end time events, just like Extions. Having knowledge of end time events is not going to save you. Let me say that again. Having end time knowledge is not going to save you. What is going to save you is your relationship with our Abba Yahuah. That is key. Because if you don't have that, when the end times start truly happening, where you're seeing all the judgments that are going on and Yahuah is allowing this to happen and that to happen, you're not going to be in that hedge of protection, Mishpachah. You're not going to be in that protection. And what's probably going to end up happening is you're going to end up being deceived because you wasn't standing strong with our Abba Yahuah. Let me show you. I'm going to be reading out of the scriptures, TS 2009. Let's go into the Brit HaKadash, also known as the Brit Hadashah. Some people pronunciate it that way, aka the New Testament. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, also known as the Olivet Discourse. Matthew chapter 24, I want your eyes on this passage right here. Let me bring this up. This is going to be the key for many of us. 24:24. Matthew 24:24. Easy to remember. 24, chapter 24, verse 24. Notice what it says here. For false messiahs and false prophets shall arise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. Let me read that out of the King James Version as well. Same passage, 24:24. Let's read this. For there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive, the other translation said, astray, the very elect, the chosen ones. This, my friends, is not talking about the Jewish people in Israel. I can speak a little more freely here on YouTube than TikTok, so I can speak. Now, in Christianity, they always told us that the elect ones was the Jewish people, God's chosen people. No, this is talking about you and me. This is not talking about some fake people. This is talking about those who know the Messiah and keeps his commandments. That's who he's talking about here. Again, if is the key word. If it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Who is they? It's these people up here, the false messiahs and the false prophets. Who's the false anointed ones? And who are the false ones who were sent out? So many of us have been a victim to them already in Christianity and in Islam and in Buddhism and in Taoism and all the isms that you can think of. The only truth is the way. That's it. That's why the Messiah says, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. He is the only way. No other direction, no other road can you take but him. This is why it is so important to understand how you are to walk this out. Again, having knowledge of end time understanding is not going to save you. It's going to be your walk with Abba Yahuah. Because you and I can be taken out right now. We could breathe our last breath right now. But here's the beauty about the end time events. Because you see, we were told to know these things. Let me read back out of the scriptures. Let's go to the very last book, also known as Hazun. You may know it as Revelation. Let's read this passage. This is chapter 28, starting at verse 18. Okay. For I witness to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book. What book? The book of Hazon, the book of Revelation. Again, for I witness, I testify to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, Yahuah Elohim shall add to them the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the prophecy, Yahuah Elohim shall take away his or her part from the book of life and out of the set apart city, which are written in this book. Again, the book of Hazon, also known as Revelation. He that bears witness or testifies of these matters says, yes, I am coming speedily. Amat. Yes, come, Master Yahusha. The favor of our Master Yahusha HaMashiach be with the set apart ones. Again, you and me. You and me. What do we have to look forward to, Mishpachah? There is no other book that we've been told that we know as the 66 books. We're not talking about the apocryphals. We're talking about the 66 books from Genesis to Revelation, where we are told that there is a barakah for reading and hearing specifically the words that are written of the prophecies of this book called Hazon. You don't hear it anywhere else in any other writing but this one particular book. It might be because there's some importance in this book, and it's going to help those people who are living in the last days. You see, the information in this book is for a certain generation. The generation that is going to see the culmination of all the things, or not everything, but most of the things that have been written by the Nabaim, by the prophets of what we know as the Old Testament. They foretold what was given to them to write to us pertaining to what is going to happen to a particular generation of believers. Now, there's many people who are reading out of this book called the Book of Revelation, but do they have the understanding? You can have all the knowledge, all the information of end time events, but if you don't have the understanding of what you are reading, and I'm not claiming to have all the understanding, but if you don't have understanding of what you are reading, you're just as lost. You're just as lost. Now, many of us, Yahuah has been revealing things incrementally to his people, like the calendar. The calendar is very crucial, family. Why is the calendar so crucial? Let me give you some examples. Let's go to the beginning here. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12. Here we start to see about some dates and some numbers, okay? Very, very intriguing information here. Notice here in Revelation chapter 12, it speaks about this woman in verse 6. And it reads, "And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by Yahuah Elohim," which you're hearing me saying, for those of you who don't understand, when I say Yahuah, that is Almighty, Elohim, plural. So when I'm saying Yahuah Elohim, I'm saying the mighty of mighty ones, okay? Where she has a place prepared by Yahuah Elohim, the mighty of mighty ones, to be nourished, to be taken care of there for 1,260 days. Right there, 1,260 days has to do with the calendar. If you are using the calendar that we have all come accustomed to since our birth, you're using the wrong calendar. Hence, you won't understand this prophecy. If you're using the so-called Jewish calendar, the Hillel 2 calendar, you won't understand this prophecy. If you're following the moon as your calendar, your so-called lunisolar calendar, you won't understand this prophecy. The only calendar that you will understand this prophecy from is Yahuwah's calendar that was given to Enoch and was also given to Masha. You may know him as Moses. All throughout, from Genesis chapter 1 to Revelation chapter 22, the calendar of Yahuwah is being used. This is why we can't make sense of some of these prophecies, because we're using the wrong time system. We're using the wrong calendar system. You cannot take something that is not belonging to what you're reading of the topics and the information that is within or contained in a book that is using a specific type of timetable and use another timetable and think you're going to make sense of what you're reading. It won't happen. It will not happen. You need to follow his calendar. And this is what has happened in our last days. It started right around, I want to say, in the early 2000s, that people started seeing a pattern. And it had to do with the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls were so important for a last day generation like ours to know what is getting ready to occur, because those books have some very important information that I believe, this is just my opinion, that I believe Yahuwah, foreseeing the future, told these people, be it unbeknownst to them, put it in them to hide these scrolls of books in these vases, and then put them in these caves that we know today as the Qumran caves. Those scrolls are very, very important to us now. Without those scrolls, we wouldn't know the true calendar today. This is the reason why they didn't canonize the book of Jubilees. They didn't canonize the book of Enoch. Those two books alone has given us the understanding of the restored calendar to understand passages like this in Revelation chapter 12 and also Daniel chapter 12. So speaking of Daniel, let's go to Daniel real quick. Daniel chapter 12. Speaking of our time right now, notice what it says here in chapter 12, verse 4. Let's read this together. But you, Daniel, hide the words and seal the book, or the scroll, as it would actually say, until the time of the end. That's the end times. Many shall diligently search, and knowledge shall increase. Now, I don't know how many times I've heard, and you've probably heard, and you probably still think this way because it has been subliminally and subconsciously told to you in Christian circles that knowledge is going to increase. Look at us. Look at the technology of travel and the technology of the internet and the computer age and da 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 da. And they're talking about all this technology. That's not what this passage is talking about. That's not what this passage is talking about. Notice what the passage is actually talking about. Daniel, hide the words and seal the book until the time of the end. What book? What information? This book. This information, the book of Daniel. Many shall diligently search and knowledge shall increase. Now the question is, what knowledge? Is it man's knowledge? Is it satanic? Is it the technology of Satan that we're talking about here? No. It's talking about Yahuwah's word. It's about the understanding of his word, to unseal his book, to unseal the understanding of the information of his words. That, my friends, is what happened with the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls was that treasure trove of knowledge that we needed to understand that the Tanakh, what people have mislabeled and misnamed the Old Testament because there's nothing old about it. It is still relevant today. The Tanakh, the original Testament, was what we got out of those Dead Sea parchments, those Dead Sea Scrolls. No New Testament books, only the Old. And some that we didn't even know that should have been a part of our so-called canonized scripture. But you see, the people who are in power don't want us to have certain information as they don't want us to have it today. They want us to be dumbed down. They want to thwart us from the truth. They want us to be all busy with all these distractions while the truth is hiding in plain sight. And so as we get into the Dead Sea Scroll, or not the Dead Sea Scrolls, into the end time events, as we're going to be talking about today, I want you guys to understand something. What you're going to hear, you're not going to understand it right away. I didn't understand it right away. Some of you are going to get it because of your understanding already that Yahuwah has given you. Some of you might not get it, but don't get upset. Don't be pulling your hair out because you can't seem to wrap your mind around it. It's not always easy to understand Yahuwah's words, but this is why he tells us to dig deep. He says to ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find that information. Knock persistently, consistently, and the door of the knowledge of your brain shall be open to receive that knowledge of that information so you have understanding. People read all day long. I can't tell you of countless of times. Just think about anybody who, like somebody who's older than you. It might be your grandma, your grandfather. They've been in Christianity longer than you've been alive. And some of us is 40, 50, 60 years old, and some of them are still living, and that's all they know is Christianity. They don't know half of the information you and I know right now. Why? Because they've been put into this box. They've even put who they believe is the creator in a box. And so they're not getting any new revelation. They got the same ingredients. They're eating the same bread over and over and over again. So you know what's happening? They're spiritually malnourished. They're spiritually malnourished. They're not eating the word, every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Abba Yahuwah. You can't eat the same meal over and over and over and over and over and over again and think that you're going to get some new revelation. It just doesn't work like that. You have to be a student of the scriptures. You have to have a little more understanding than those that are around you to know this information. And you got to have the zeal for it. I don't know how many emails I've received from people who said, I used to never like reading. I used to never read Abba Yahuwah's word. When I was in Christianity, I would just go there because I was told to go, maybe by my parents or maybe my girlfriend or my wife or whatever, or I just wanted to go because it made me feel so-called God. Felt like you accomplished something by walking into that building. But what did you learn? What did you receive? Did you receive the truth or did you receive tradition? If you're being real with yourself, you're going to find out that you have actually accepted and received a lot of tradition. There's some information, and I'm gonna play something here for you guys. This is how most of us think. Let me pull this up. Give me a second. But this is how most of us think, because this is what we all been taught. Okay. Now, it's not your fault. It's not your fault when you don't see what you don't understand. Because if somebody hasn't told it to you, how could you know this truth? But this is what most of us have been taught. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me play this.
So Netanyahu accepts invite to Trump's Board of Peace. I don't know much about that, except today Trump invited the Pope onto the Board of Peace.
I gotta clean my screen. That's
For
a little
those of
dirty.
you who do know Bible prophecy, it's like, what? The leader of the ancient Roman Empire has been invited to be on a Board of Peace for the Middle East. It's just a little wild there, folks. Why? You'll know more in the weeks ahead. But we know this, that according to the Bible, the once ancient Roman Empire will rise again in power in the last days, and there will be 10 chief leaders that come out of that ancient Roman Empire, and they will be a group that will bring a peace treaty through one particular individual. I'm now going through the book of Revelation. I'm going through the book of Daniel, chapter 9.
Okay, so let me stop that right there. Notice what he had said earlier, and we've all believed this. Let me back it up. Let me play it again.
10 chief leaders
back it up a little more.
That according to the Bible, the once ancient Roman Empire will rise again in power in the last days.
Okay, right there. How many of you have been told and have been taught that there's going to be a revived Roman Empire? How many of you have been taught that? Give me a 7 or a 1. How many of you have been taught that there is going to be a revived Roman Empire? Yep, I see that, Mary. Jackie, yep, all of you, I see that. Okay, now, can any of you all show me where it says that anywhere from the book of Daniel, any of the prophetical books, including Revelation, anywhere in the so-called New Testament, anywhere? Can you show me where in scripture or in the New Testamental writings where it says that Rome or this last beast system is going to rise again? I'll wait. I am waiting. You see, it's these kind of lies that I'm talking about, but we don't question it. We just take it in. This is what Christianity has been teaching and is still teaching so many people right now. A revived Roman Empire. And out of the revived Roman Empire, there's going to be these 10 kingdoms, these 10 countries. And they believe it's all in Europe. Look at the state of Europe right now. It's not Europe. It never was Europe. But again, this is what I'm saying when you don't understand end time prophecy. You can read it all you want, But if you don't have the Ruach HaKodesh, for those of you who don't know what I just said, if you don't have the set apart spirit, the spirit of Yahuah, the creator, you won't have understanding. You won't. Starting at verse 23, this is chapter 7 of Daniel. Okay. Chapter 7 of Daniel. Notice what it's talking about here, starting at verse 23. This is what he said. The fourth, in fact, you know what? Let's get a little bit of context of what we're talking about. Let's see here. Verse 15. As for me, Daniel, my Ruach, my spirit was pierced within my body, and the visions of my head alarmed me. I drew near to the one of those who stood by and asked him, he's talking about this Malak, this angel, the certainty or the understanding of all of this. And he, this angel, spoke to me, Daniel, and made known to me, Daniel, the interpretation of the matters. Verse 17. These great beasts, which are four kings, which rise up from the earth. Okay, some translations will say 4 kingdoms. To be a king, you must have a kingdom. So they go hand in hand. Okay, so it's talking about the same 4 empires, however you want to put it. And then it goes on and says, we're going to skip verse 18. We're going to go straight into the information here, because when you're reading this, the blue that I have here underlined, these are parenthetical pauses. What I mean by that is if you was to leave those out, you will continue on with the thought process of the reader or the writer. Okay, in this passage, we're talking about Daniel. So verse 17, these great beasts, which are four sovereigns, which rise up from the earth. Then I desired certainty concerning the 4th beast, which was different from all the others, very fearsome, with its teeth of iron and its nails of bronze, which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the rest with its feet. And concerning the 10 horns that were on its head, and the other horn that came up, before which 3 fell. This horn, which had eyes and a mouth which spoke great words or pompous words, some of your translations will say, whose appearance was greater than his fellows. So physically, he looks different. I was looking, and this horn was fighting against the Kadashim, the set apart ones, the Talmudim, the disciples, those who are believers, the saints, as you may know them, and prevailing against them. Okay, this goes in hand with Revelation chapter 13. Let's continue, skipping verse 22. This is what he said. The 4th beast is the 4th kingdom on the earth, which is different from all the other kingdoms, and it devours all the earth. Listen to this. And it devours all the earth. It didn't fall down. It tramples it down, tramples the earth down, and crushes the earth. And the 10 horns or the 10 kings are from this kingdom, this last kingdom, the kingdom that you and I are in, the one that this guy was talking about, which was ancient Rome. Yes, it was ancient Rome, but that Rome still exists to this very day. It hasn't gone anywhere. Let's continue. They shall rise. Okay, who's they? These 10 horns, they shall rise into power. Okay, and another shall rise after them. So what has to come first? The 10 kingdoms or these 10 leaders are to come first. And then shall arise another one after them. And it is different from the first ones. So this particular guy, whoever he is going to be different than the 10 that he comes after. And it humbles 3 of these kings. This hasn't happened yet, at least not to our knowledge. And this other one that came after the 10, speaks words against the Most High. And this same horn, wears out the set apart ones, that is you and me, of the Most High. And this false Messiah, intends to change appointed times and law, and they are given into his hand for time, times and half a time, or 3.5 years. Now, here's the thing about prophecy. This is a layered prophecy. Part of this has already happened, and it's going to reoccur again. We were talking about the abomination of desolation earlier, and I don't want to confuse some of you who are listening, but the abomination of desolation, we're going to read about it in Matthew chapter 24. We're going to find out where the location of it comes from, which is Daniel chapter 9. And then we're going to find out how this has occurred more than once, this abomination that causes desolation. Why does it happen more than once? What is the meaning of this? I'll tell you what I believe it is. This is just my opinion. If you wanted to trick someone or make them think that it's getting ready to go down right now, and it wasn't going down right now because you needed to make sure that you catch them off guard, the element of surprise. Satan is trying to figure out Yahuwah's plan. He's trying to thwart it. He's trying to, in a way, go before the prophecy to stop the prophecy from occurring. So what does Yahuwah do? He's like, I'm going to let this happen, and Satan's going to think that this is the one. And so he's going to reveal his cards. He's going to reveal his hand, and he's going to try to do whatever he can to stop it. But that's not the one I was talking about. It's going to come later. And then another one comes and he's like, oh, this has got to be the one. And Satan's going to try to thwart that one too. That's not the one. So now Satan don't know when it's going to happen, but he is going to react to every time that it does happen, hoping that the one that it is, he's ready for it. He's not going to see this one coming. And we're not going to see it until it happens either, because this is how Yahuwah has designed his prophecy to work, so that when it does happen, we do know and we understand that this is what he meant when he said this. This is the interpretation. This is the one and only true interpretation of what he meant when he said this in the mouth of the prophets. Do you guys understand so far what I'm saying? Give me a 1 or a 7. All right. So now notice, this is what I'm talking about. This is what's already happened in the past. And they shall rise, and another shall rise after him, and it is different from the first ones, and it humbles 3 sovereigns. And it, who's it? This is speaking of the Roman Empire, speaks words against the Most High, and it, the Roman Empire, wears out the set apart ones. That's what the Catholic Inquisition was all about. It went after the people of the way. Anybody who spoke Hebrew, anybody who was found with Hebrew writings, anyone who was following the Hebrew Messiah, anyone who was talking about the Hebrew Messiah, anyone who was keeping the true Sabbath day, anyone who had anything to do with the truth. The Catholic Church went after them so that they can institute the fake church, the fake assembly, the fake ecclesia. And it intends to change appointed times, hence your holidays, all the holidays, appointed times. What's appointed times? They're feast days, they're high days. They changed the appointed times. Who changed the appointed times? Rome changed the appointed time. This same fourth beast changed the appointed times. It took us off of Yahuwah's standard and gave us their standard. No longer are you going to worship him on this calendar according to this calendar. You're going to follow him with this calendar, and we're going to give you a new religion, and you're going to think it's the old religion, and we're going to put a new label on it, and that label is going to be called Christianity with a new Messiah, and his name is going to be changed to Jesus, and we're going to give you a new title. Instead of calling him Messiah, we're going to give you Christ. All of this was changed by this fourth beast. This fourth kingdom that is still in our midst and has not gone anywhere. There's nothing getting revived. It's here. It's alive and well. Oh, yeah, I see some of the actions then exited out. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. But for those of you who are still listening, it's for you to hear this message, because some of you You're not ready for this. Some of you want to stay in the dark. Some of you don't want to know the truth because the truth is scarier than fiction. And I'm not saying that just to be saying that, because once you understand that you and I have been living in this fourth beast for quite a while, okay? This beast has been going on since the days before our Messiah even came on the earth in the flesh. Rome, it was already in power. We're looking and living in the fourth beast, the beast that Daniel says he was looking at it in awe, like, I marveled at this beast. What could this beast, how is Yah gonna allow this beast to continue on lying to everybody that they are the truth? And they've taken it and changed the whole belief and gave us this new religion called Christianity. How long is Yahuah gonna allow this to occur? How long is this institution gonna go around and literally unaliving people to make them line up with their belief system? This is what this is all about. This is what's going on right now. And so not only did they change the holidays, the appointed times, but they even changed the law, the Sabbath day. They changed the law. Oh, you don't have to worry about bowing down to idols and images. No. We just removed that law. No, we're going to change the law. Remember last week I showed you the 10 commandments according to the Catholics and the 10 commandments according to scripture? They took out the second commandment, which says that you are not to make any graven idols or images of anything in the heavens or anything on the earth or anything underneath the earth. They removed that. Why? Because they are all worshipers of idols. They're kissing idols. They have them in their homes. They're praying to them. They got rosary beads. They're doing all this stuff. Their prayer beads. They're doing all of this, changing and defying the laws of Yahuah. This is the empire that has done this. If you don't understand this and you're listening to people like this, no wonder why we're lost. No wonder why we don't understand what the truth is. Let's continue. Let's hear what he has to say.
A group that will bring a peace treaty through one particular individual. I'm now going through the book of Revelation. I'm going through the book of Daniel, chapter 9, Daniel chapter 2, Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Daniel 11. Wow, you could just go on where the Bible says that once Roman Empire will come back. Did you know the Roman Empire was never defeated? Do you all know that? The Babylonian Empire, they were defeated by the Medo-Persian Empire. The Medo-Persian Empire was defeated by the Grecian Empire. Mm-hmm. The Grecian Empire was defeated by the Roman Empire.
This is true.
The Roman Empire got so big that they just simply fragmented.
That's the lie. That's
the lie right there. No one
ever
conquered the Roman Empire.
No one hasn't conquered the Roman Empire, but it just didn't fracture. It didn't fracture. Just like what the Messiah says, any kingdom that is divided against itself shall not stand. Okay? This Roman Empire, which still exists right now, is still standing, and it has order. Satan is ordering everything that is happening right now on this earth. He's orchestrating it, and Yahuah is allowing him to do so. Why? Because he needs to allow Satan to finish off his work, which is going to go along with Yahuah's will. Because there are going to be those who are going to follow the lie, which is the majority of the earth. And there's going to be a handful remnant who is going to follow Yahuah.
His Bible, we shall see in the weeks ahead. God has never taken the Roman Empire off the playing field. It's always been on there. Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting to think? You say, what are you talking about? Bible prophecy. It's just been sitting there. Nobody's been paying attention to it. I don't know. When the news pops up, when the Pope is appointed to a board of peace, it just got to get your attention.
So he's talking about this board of peace that President Trump has put together, and he has it being led by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, or Jared Kushner, as they say in the English. I don't know if I have to say this to you, but I'm thinking you guys can read between the lines. What we're seeing that is occurring right before our very eyes is Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. Daniel chapter 9, verse 27 says, "And he shall confirm an agreement with many for 1 week. And in the middle of the week, he shall put an end to slaughtering and meal offering. And on the wing of an abomination, he shall lay waste even until the complete end, and that which is decreed is poured out on the one who lays waste." Now, this is the passage that I was talking about earlier, that it has occurred more than once. Okay. The problem is that we need to figure out which one it is when it is to occur. Now, we know that it is coming because we are living in the time for the next one to occur. But when this next one does occur, it's going to fulfill this to the T. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Let me pull up this other one here real quick. The one that happened, the very first one that happened. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. So the guy's name was Antiochus Epiphanes. Okay. Let me show you this and pull this out the way. Antiochus Epiphanes was a king of Seleucid Empire from 175 BC until his death in 164 BC. Notable events during Antiochus' reign includes his near conquest of the Ptolemaic Egypt, his persecution of Jews. We're not talking about the Jewish people. We're talking about the true Jews that he had persecuted, okay, of Judea and Samaria. And the rebellion of the Jewish Maccabees, okay, or the true Jew, the Maccabees. The son of King Antiochus III, great Antiochus IV, ascension to the throne was controversial, as he was seen as a usurper by some after the death of his brother Seleucus, Philopator, in 175 BC. True heir should have been Seleucus' son Demetrius. Okay, so here, let me put here, desecrate. Oh, here it is. They already have it. Let me let you read this. Antiochus Epiphanes desecrated the Yahudim Hakal in Yahushalom by erecting a statue of Zeus and sacrificing a pig on the altar, actions that led to a significant revolt among the Yahudim known as the Maccabean Revolt. This event is commemorated in Jewish tradition during, where they put Hanukkah as Hakunah, okay, or the dedication. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because this was the abomination, the first abomination that causes desolation, when Epiphanes set up a statue of Zeus in the Most High Place and then slaughtered a pig on the altar. Now, this is where I need you to put on your thinking caps. I've shared this before, but there's some new people in here, and some of you who are probably in here, but you probably weren't paying attention the last time I talked about this. So let me bring it up to your attention. Let me write this down, because sometimes, like myself, some of you need to see it instead of just hearing about it. Now, remember what Antiochus Epiphanes did. He set up a statue of Zeus. That was the first thing he did, okay? And he did this in the Most High Place, okay? In the Most High Place. I'm just going to put the Most High Place. I'm going to put Most Place here. You guys know what I'm talking about, just for the sake of what we're talking about here. Now, that was in the Most High place. But in front of the Most High place at the temple is the altar. And he sacrificed a pig on it to Zeus. Okay? This is an abomination right here. But it doesn't end there. We are the temple. You and I are the temple. And we, through Christianity, have been told to ask JC to come into our hearts. We confess him with our mouth, and so we are saved, according to Romans chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. Okay? But here's the problem. We've changed the name. Our Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters, they pronounce it as Jesus. Okay? Zeus. We're also told through Christianity, because of the way people read the books, especially the New Testament, you can eat anything that you want. You don't have to worry about dietary laws. So your mouth is the offering. You are now putting pig and all kinds of unclean things, pork, just like whatever that dude's name is, Anthony Mitchell or whatever his name from 2819 Ministries, talking about the best thing that, of course he uses a different word, God has given us is bacon. Oh, that bacon be slapping you in the face when you be waking up in the morning, don't it? I mean, just stuff like this. Well, this right here is another abomination. You, as the temple of Yahuah, you're doing no different than Antiochus Epiphanes IV did back in the days of the Maccabean revolt. You're doing the same identical thing. And this is why when people talk about, oh, the name doesn't matter, he knows what I'm talking about, he knows my heart. Well, that's what's in your heart. You're confessing a name that wasn't given to you. I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole, but I've been down that rabbit hole many times, and today is not that day. But I will say this. You professing Jesus out of your mouth, you're doing the same thing that Antiochus Epiphanes did by what he did in the Most High place. Yahuah is very strict about how we are to come to him. If we come to him any other way, you are a robber and you are a thief. Okay? You can't come into that window any kind of way. You must come to him on his terms, not on your terms. And that's what Christianity gives you, is everything is done according to your terms. And so this is a type of abomination. This is what's happening today. But now we're reading about the third abomination that is to come. Okay, now, mind you, I missed another one, and we can get into that later. In fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this now. Because this is the other abomination that causes desolation. And this happened in 70 AD, okay, with Titus Flavius. Let me put his name in here. Titus Flavius, desecrating the temple. Okay, so this is the other one. Titus Flavius, a Roman general, led the siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE, resulting in a destruction of the Second Temple, a significant event in Yahudim history, okay? At this point, there was no Jewish people, okay? This had to do with the true Jews, okay? The dark melanated Jews. The temple was desecrated during the siege. The word desecrate is letting you know that they did something that was sacrilegious. They did something that was abominable during the siege, marking a turning point of Judaism and leading to the transformation of the religious practice. Now, the reason why I bring this up again is because we need to figure out which abomination of desolation that the Messiah was talking about in Matthew chapter 24. So now let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Let's notice what the Messiah said here out of his own mouth as we're being told that this is what he said. Verse 15, Matthew 24, verse 15. Let me bring this down a little bit. And let me bring it back out just a little so it's not so close to my face. Verse 15, so then when you see the abomination that lays waste, some of yours will say desolation, spoken by, there's Daniel, the prophet. So this takes us back to Daniel, okay, his book. Set up in a set apart place. Notice that, set up in the set apart place. He who reads, let him understand. So what are we to understand here? When it's set up in the set apart place, when the Messiah said this, Antiochus Epiphanes, he did what he did. Okay, that happened in the 107, 160 something BC. That was 160 something years before the Messiah came in the flesh. So he couldn't have been talking about that one when he's saying this here about the abomination that lays waste. Could he have been talking about the one that was going to happen 40 years later, where he says not one stone shall be left upon another until all of it comes down? Is that the one he's talking about? Well, it can't be if that didn't change in him bringing his not only his second coming, but his kingdom here to the earth. Because if you continue to read this, all of this continues on into the great tribulation. Here it says the great distress. But we know that the great distress or the great tribulation is going to end, as it says here in verse 29 of Matthew. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun is supposed to be getting dark. The moon doesn't give us light. The stars fall from heaven. But all that is still up in the sky. And nowhere in historical records do we ever find of the sun going totally black, the moon not giving its light, and the stars falling from the stars are still up there. Every night you go out there and you look, unless you got sky pollution or light pollution and you can't see it, but they're still up there. Talks about how the whole earth is going to see him coming back. That hasn't happened, but there's people who want you to believe that it already happened and already occurred. Talking about, TORAH and all these other buildings in the mud flood and all this mess. Another throw off. This is the confusion of Satan. Because these people don't understand Bible prophecy, scriptural prophecy. So they're just going to gravitate to any new thing that comes out and say, well, no one can explain these buildings and where they came from. We don't even create architectural stuff like this anymore. Just because you can't explain it doesn't make what you're saying true. It must line up with the word. If you're not going to line it up with the word, you're going to be confused. And for those of you who are listening to me, you can go and look into and you can find whatever it is that tickles your fancy. You want to believe that aliens already done came down and that we're a race of aliens. You're going to find somebody who believes that on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube. Mark the word. Go look for it. I guarantee you're going to find somebody. Just like the people that are talking about right now about the second Exodus and how these ships are going to all of a sudden just appear on our shorelines. Don't ask no questions. Just get on the ship. Are you insane? Are you crazy? And there's people that's following this kind of information, this dumb nonsense. So again, when is this abomination that lays waste supposed to occur? It's something that's going to happen in the future. And we know it's going to happen in the future because even here, the apostle Shaul, when he said this in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, he wasn't saying this as something that was going to happen in his lifetime. There's people that are arguing about that. Oh, well, he was talking about his lifetime. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Maybe when he first started his ministry, he didn't quite understand and he was saying things, but no. Later on, it was given to him and he understood very clearly. So let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Let's read this passage right here. And you're going to see some verbiage that sounds very similar to what we just read in Matthew chapter 24. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at verse 3. Let no one deceive you in any way, because the falling away is to come first. And the man of lawlessness, your translation may say the man of perdition, is to be revealed. So this anti-Messiah, this false Messiah, he's going to be revealed to us, not to the world. The world will have no idea that this is the man of sin. What do we mean by the man of sin? The man of sin means that he does not follow the law. What is sin? The transgression of the law. He doesn't follow the Torah. He's the man that is Torahless, the man of sin, the man of Torahlessness. He has to be revealed first, okay? Who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called Yahuah Elohim, or that is called a deity, if you will, or that is worshipped, so that he sits as Yahuah Elohim in the dwelling place of Yahuah Elohim, showing himself that he is Yahuah Elohim. Notice that it says here that he is going to be sitting in the dwelling place. In the dwelling place? When we think of the dwelling place, it's just like what Christians be thinking. Oh, well, that means that it has to be the third temple is going to be erected in the exact same spot as the first and second temples. No, it doesn't. The fact that it's in proximity, it's in Jerusalem, it's in the set apart place. The whole city is his city. The whole place is set apart. The whole place belongs to him. In fact, the whole earth belongs to him, but specifically the city of Jerusalem. It is called by his name, Yahushalom, not Jerusalem. That's Germanic. So he is going to be sitting in the place where he's not supposed to. This is the abomination that causes desolation. This is why when you continue to read, he says, do you not remember that I told you this while I was still with you? And now you know what restrains, what is holding it back from happening for him to be revealed in his time. For the secret of lawlessness, what is this? The secret of lawlessness? The mystery of perdition, or the lawlessness here is what has to do, or no, excuse me, it says the mystery of iniquity in some of your translation. The word iniquity has to do with falling away from not following Yahuwah's laws. It's just not any law of the land or somebody just being evil. No, this is a person who specifically goes out of their way to not follow the law. Sounds familiar, Christians? It should, because that's what we've been taught. Christianity teaches you are not to follow the law because the law has been done away with. The law ended in the Messiah, or they say the word Christ. The Messiah never told you that, and nor will you find anyone that says that. Even in the letter of Shaul, when he says that the Messiah is the end of the law, what is he saying? You got to go deep into what he's talking about. You just don't read it from the surface level and say, yeah, because if you're reading it that way, surely it does say that. But what does it mean to no longer be under the law? Because the law hasn't gone anywhere. This is a fact. And we know the law is going to continue on forever because he says his word is eternal and his word is the law. So what is he talking about? He's talking about being under the death penalty for breaking the law. That's what we're not under anymore. This is what they're not telling you in Christianity because they have a surface level of understanding and they don't know how to go into the deeper matters by the Ruach, by the Spirit, because it is the Spirit that reveals the truth to you, not your man, not the woman who has got stilettos on, walking around, prancing around behind a pulpit. They don't know the truth. Anointed pastors and preachers, those who say, I am anointed. It's not saying I am the Messiah. The word Messiah means anointed. They're saying that they're anointed teachers. They're saying that they're anointed preachers. They're saying that their ministry is anointed. And you have people going out of their churches and going around and saying, oh, you need to come to my church because my pastor is so anointed. His ministry is anointed. This is what he's talking about in Matthew chapter 24, when he says, many shall come in my name saying that I am the Messiah. I am anointed. And so here you see in verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity, or the secret of lawlessness, which is to be without the law, is already at work. This is what Paul was dealing with back then, before Constantine even got a hold of what they call now Christianity. Satan was already trying to thwart what Yahuah has already accomplished on the tree. He realized, oh boy, I done messed up. Let me do some damage control. Let me take a hold of this and hijack this truth. And what did he do? He gave us Christianity. Satan gave us this. Satan changed everything that the Messiah gave us, and he did it through the fourth empire called Roman Empire. We're still in it. And I give you guys proof for those of you who already know, but for those of you who don't know, we live here in the United States of America. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's better for me to show it to you than to say it. I'm a firm believer of that because I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to see it for yourself. And I'm just going to show you one. But you can, from here, we can build on it. We can build on it. But I want you to see this. You guys all notice what I'm showing you right now. The dollar bill, y'all. The dollar bill. Now, all this says the United States of America. That's all English, ain't it? That's all English, isn't it? Federal Reserve note. That's all English, isn't it? Right? This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, right? All that's English. All this is English. No issues. But now let's look at the back of this dollar bill. What does that mean? And do you know what language that's in? What is this? Novus Ordero Slocorum. What's Annuit Conceptus? What does this mean? And why is this on the back of our dollar bill? What are they not telling us? I see some of you are very smart and diligent in your understanding and studies. So if this is Latin, which it is, who speaks Latin? And where does it come from? Where does it come from? Where does Latin come from? It comes from Rome. It comes from Italy. Okay? The same people who hijacked a Hebrew belief system and moved it over to their geographical location. They moved it from Jerusalem and they moved it to the European nation called Italy, to their city called the Vatican City, which is inside the city called Rome. Now, we're supposed to be an English-speaking country the last time I checked. What is an English-speaking country having Latin phrases, which is so-called a dead language, mind you, by the way? Nobody on this earth today, as a people, speak Latin to one another. They use it for events and pomp and circumstances when they're doing masses, okay? Or if they're talking about the dollar bill, if they're talking about government, if they're talking about medicine, if they're talking about court, okay? They use Latin phrases. This is all Latin. Has nothing to do with you and me speaking English, and we're supposed to be an English-speaking country, and you have people like President Trump saying, well, if you don't speak our language, then you need to go. Well, why do y'all have this then? If English is supposed to be our official language, why do we have Latin phrases on what is supposed to be official dollars? And this is just one of many things. I'm not even going into the architecture. The architecture of the United States, of the capital of the United States, is identical to Rome. The governmental system is set up just like Rome and Greece. You have governors and senators. Go back and watch the movie Gladiator. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that's so similar. They call it a republic. The Roman Republic. The United States is supposed to be a republic if you can keep it. Right? Isn't that what Benjamin Franklin said? What we have here, people, is a republic if you can keep it. But this is what they have done to us. They put it in plain sight, and most Americans, they'll just spend a dollar bill. They're not looking at the witchcraft and the spells that are all on this piece of paper. Got you believing that this is its weight in gold, $1. And then they'll put 2 zeros next to this and have you believing that, oh, this means this is just $100 bill. And that $100 bill will get you $100 stuff worth of stuff. They have put all this in our face. But I'm bringing all this up to let you know we're in that fourth beast system. We're in the Roman system. We've been in it. And they are the ones who has given us the religion called Christianity. The Messiah did not get or give us that religion. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but some people just don't want to accept it. But it is very true. Okay? Nowhere, anywhere in scripture, if we're told that the Messiah is the same to yesterday, today, and forever, what makes you think he's going to bring us a new religion? He says, I didn't come here to give you a new one. He says, I came here to complete it. So if he completed it, how did it change to what we have today? Because the apostles didn't do it. Peter sure didn't do it, even though they call him the first pope. These people did it. And it wasn't the Italians that did it. It was certain Jews of our own people that wanted us to not follow the Messiah. Some of our own people, I'm talking about melanated people, melanated DNA Israel, did not want us to know or to follow the true Messiah. And so what did they do? They created a religion for us and they gave it a name. It's called Christianity. Taking the same teachings, but twisting it. This is what they did by giving us a lawless religion called Christianity. Christianity is lawless. This is why so many people can accept it. From your Lil Wayne's with all of his grill, of all of his diamonds in his mouth, to somebody who's shaking her thing like Beyonce over here talking about all this stuff about JC as her Lord and Savior. Yeah, it is. That is right. You're right. That is your Lord and Savior, but not mine. You're following the Roman religion. You're following the one that Satan has given us to take our eyes off the truth. This fourth kingdom is about to commit the abomination that's going to cause desolation. This fourth kingdom shall not be destroyed until our Messiah cracks that sky. And he's going to hit the 10 toes of that image that we read about in the book of Daniel. He's going to knock it to the ground and he's going to set up his kingdom. And we're going to be the rulers and reigners of that kingdom. But until then, we got to go through this. We're getting ready to see the abomination that's going to cause desolation, that's going to cause destruction. Because when they put up that third temple, you and I are going to be open season. More than we are already starting to feel a little bit of the heat right now. We haven't seen anything yet. We haven't seen anything yet. What we're getting ready to see is going to be some serious torture. What we're going to see is some serious unaliving of our brothers and sisters. But all of this is not to fear. All of this is not to scare us. Because again, the Messiah is with us. But we got to go through this. Are you able to drink the cup of what the Messiah says that he's going to have to drink? And he said that to his disciples. Can you drink of this cup that I'm about to drink? He says, you're going to be made to drink of this cup. Yes, you will. Because you belong to him. And he's going to give you the authority and he's going to give you the strength to get through it. Hold on one second. Let me sip on my concoction here. So again, Second Thessalonians chapter 2 is talking about how this was already occurring in the times of Paul. As he says here, where is it? For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, verse 7. The secret, the mystery of iniquity, the secret of lawlessness, to not follow the law, the Torah, was already at work in the times of Paul. And this is the same Paul that so many of you Christians want to say that Paul said, oh, we don't have to follow the law. That's not what he said. I can show you verse after verse where he says, no, that's not the case. But you're going to read in and see what you want to see because you're not going to rightly divide the word of truth. And that's the danger of Christianity, because I just showed you in Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, how this fourth empire was going to change the law. And they've done it already. And they're going to change the law again. When this anti-Messiah reveals himself, when Yahuah allows him to reveal himself, he is going to make it illegal. Not unlawful, illegal. And you might say, well, what's the difference? Legal is something that the government says that they can make lawful. Even though it's unlawful in Yahuwah's eyes, the government can say, nope, we made it legal, so now it's lawful. That's the difference. When Yahuwah says something is unlawful, you can never make it legal. Does that make sense? If Yahuwah says you are not to bow down to any idol or image, that is a law. Well, the Roman Catholic Church can say, nope, we legalized it. You can go ahead and bow down. You can kiss Mary's feet. You can kiss the little baby that's in Madonna's arms. That's legal. But that doesn't make it right. What they are getting ready to do is they're going to make it illegal to worship Yahuwah as we know him. Because somebody else is going to be on this earth that is going to want your worship. And if you don't give it to him, you are now being breaking their law. So that makes it, what you just did, illegal. So whatever you're following, they're going to say that's illegal. You have a Hebrew Bible or a Hebrew scripture, that's illegal. But to Yahuwah, that's lawful. That is not unlawful. But Rome will say that's unlawful because they didn't make it legal. That's what this scripture is talking about, what was starting to already take place in the time of Paul. They were legalizing things that Yahuwah says was unlawful. Like you being able to eat whatever you want to eat. We don't have to follow the dietary laws. I can eat all the shrimp I want, shrimp cocktails until I die. Well, you go ahead with your bad self. You want to eat those crab legs? You go on right ahead and you eat yourself some Joe Crab Shack crab legs. Go right on ahead. Go on over there to Red Lobster and eat you some red lobster, since you like those crustaceans from the bottom of the sea that eats nothing but poop and dead things. Go right on ahead. Eat those cockroaches of the sea. But you're going to be squirming all around when you're at your house. Ew, there's a cockroach. Well, you eating it. What's the difference? Go ahead and take that, put it in the skillet, cook it up, and eat the cockroach. Because that's what you're eating from the one that's in the sea. No different. No different. This is what it means when it says that they changed the laws. And this is what Christianity has done to us. So that when you listen to their sermons and you listen to their doctrine and you listen to their teachings, they got you all twisted when somebody comes to you with the truth and you're like, wait a minute. And you're seeing it, you're reading it, and you're like, but my pastor, and that's where you get messed up, because you always want to go back to what a man done said to you instead of what the scripture has told you. That's when you know you're being led by a false anointed one, a false Messiah. Many false messiahs have already come. That's what John said. Who are these false anointed ones? Your pastors, preachers, and teachers. Your evangelists and ministers and reverends that love to have that title before their name, those are the ones that he's talking about. This is who he says, beware of blind guides. But then you hear somebody like me here on YouTube and you say, what does he know? He's a YouTube preacher. Who's he? Who ordained him to speak this truth? I tell you who ordained me, and there's nobody else that can ordain me but him. That's the creator of heaven and earth. His name is Yahuah. Mark it. Mark it. You're not going to be saying JC. Every knee shall not bow down to the name of JC, and every knee shall not confess that JC is the Messiah. Do you know why? Because JC is not even Hebrew. If what we read is so sensitive, like what we read in the back of the book of Revelation that I just read to you earlier, listen to this. Verse 18, chapter 22, if anyone, that means your pope, your pastor, your preacher, your teacher, your reverend, your minister, adds to them, talking about this book, Yahuah Elohim shall add to that person the plagues that are written in this book. Now, let me ask you something. Before I read that next part, let's go to this next part here. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of this prophecy, talking about the book of Revelation, he said that he's going to take away their name out of the book of life. So now let me ask you this question. If the name Jesus is so insignificant, Christians, to where you can say, well, he knows, you're not denying that his name is not truly JC. You know that that wasn't his original name, but you say, I speak English, so that makes it okay, right? This book says that everything that he says is sensitive. It's very sensitive. You know, like when you put in a password and it says that it is case sensitive, even if your letter is supposed to be a uppercase instead of a lowercase, you ain't getting in. It's the same thing with his name. It's the same thing with his name. Well, you're not going to let me in because I've been calling you JC all this time? Because I didn't say Yahusha? Do you want to find that out, Christian? Do you really want to put your soul on the line over the name of JC that you know wasn't his name? Nobody was going around first century Palestine calling our Messiah Jesus. Nobody was saying Jesus to the Messiah. That's how sensitive his name is, because his name has meaning. Yahusha means I am is salvation in the Hebrew, translated directly into English. Now, let me ask you, Christians, to take the name Jesus and translate it into English for me, please. What does Jesus mean in any language? Go to any language. Start from the Greek, because that's where you got it from. Start from the Greek. What does Jesus mean in Greek? And then find out what it means in Latin, because that's where they took it to after that. And then find out what it means in German, because that's where it went after that. And then find out what it means in Anglo-Saxon, what we call English, Anglo. Let me know what Jesus means, please. Because you think that there's power in the name of this fake deity called Jesus from the Greek pantheon, which you can find that they scrubbed all over the internet. When you look in and say, does Jesus means Zeus? And you're going to find out all through their terminology, through their technology, through their books, and through their etymology. Oh, contrary to what has been said, even in the Encyclopedia Britannica, Jesus does not mean Zeus. But wait a minute, you guys are just going to change all the historical records? I guess you can do that because you guys are the ones in control, huh? Because Satan, after all, doesn't want you to know the true name and the meaning of where Jesus comes from, because he wants you to still be connected to the name Jesus because he's Jesus. Satan is Jesus. There was nobody calling our Messiah Jesus in the very first century of Palestine. Get that through our thick skulls. This is how things get manipulated, because if you give a little crack in that door, then everything's going to come flooding in. And that's exactly what happened with the name. That's exactly what happened with the doctrine, that you don't have to follow the law anymore. But I can show you time and time again where this same Paul says we do not do away with the law. But yet a whole bunch of Christians are being taught that the law has been done away with. Let's go to the book of Romans. Let me show you this. Chapter 3 of Romans, verse 31. Do we then nullify? Oh, you know what? Let me read this out of your King James Version, because this might just be a little too heavy for you to read out of the scriptures, 2009. Let's go to the King Jimmy Version, shall we? Romans chapter 3, verse 31. What does it say here? Do we then make void? I don't know how much stronger we can make this sound. Do we then make void the law through faith, Christians? That's what you always say. Yahuah forbid. Yes, we establish the law. What? What? We established the law? But I thought Paul says that the law was done away with. He's saying this to the Romans. In case you don't believe me, Romans chapter 3, verse 31. Open up your own book and see that it ain't been changed. I'm not showing you something that ain't in your own Bible. That's the book for you. It's right there. Do we then make void the law through faith? I'm no longer under the law. I'm under faith. I'm under grace. Unmerited favor. I don't have to do anything. He died for my sins. I'm getting in free. That's it. It don't cost me nothing but just to believe. That's not what the book says. I could show you time and time again the fallacies of Christians' doctrine. The Christianity doctrine comes from Rome, and Roman Empire is the empire that we're living in, and they're the ones who are dictating your religion called Christianity because it has been their religion from the very get-go. That's why they are called the Holy Roman Empire. Holy Roman Empire. Why do they call themselves the Holy Roman Empire? Now they don't use the word holy anymore. They don't even say that it's Rome anymore that's running. But us who have eyes to see and ears to hear, we know what's going on. We know that this is Rome all in our face right now. The same thing that's going on with these ICE agents here in the United States of America ain't no different than the Roman centurions of the day, running around, pillaging people, running up in their houses without no warrants and saying, show us your papers. Are you a Roman citizen or not? Show us your papers. Let me make it plain. Are you Caucasian? Are you a Hispanic Caucasian, or are you an American Caucasian? Which one is you? Because if you're a Hispanic Caucasian, maybe we can take you to one of our internment camps and change you so you become more like us American Caucasians. Oh, I see you have a lot of melanating in your skin, African American. Are you an in-house Negro or are you an outhouse Negro? If you're an in-house Negro, then we can take you. But if you're an outhouse Negro, well, you know what we're going to do with you. You know your days are limited. You know your days are numbered. Oh, you from Asia? Well, do you think like we think, like the American Caucasians? If you think like us American Caucasians, we'll let you in. You can be part of our society. You can even marry into our people. Oh, you Native American. Oh, you got the wrong blood in you. We got places for you. We call it the reservations. Place where we have it reserved for you. Places out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, those areas, that's your place. This is what they've been doing. Tell me if I'm wrong. Oh, you African American. Look, unless you go to our colleges and our universities, you got a place called the ghetto. That's where you're going to stay, in the hood. That's where you staying. You don't belong in our neck of the woods. You don't have the privilege to live in our zip code, let alone breathe the same air we do. Nah, we coming after you. This is the Roman way. It's always been the Roman way. When you read this book right here called the Bible as they have given it to us, They don't talk about skin color. They know them by who they are, which was attached to their skin color. You don't believe me? Let me take you to Acts. You see, there's nothing new under the sun. Racism has always been racism. They just didn't call it racism. That's a new modern vernacular, okay? They didn't call it that. They just said they were using where you was from. Are you a Roman? Okay, all Romans were white. All Romans were white, okay? Can you become a citizen of Rome? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just like here today, Americans, when you think of an American, you don't think of an African American. When you hear the word American, the very first thing that goes through your mind is a Caucasian. This is what President Trump is talking about when he says, let's make America great again. He ain't talking about the Native Americans who was here when they were here first, and that was America. He's not talking about that time period of let's make America great again. No, because they weren't in control. They were coming in to take control, as they've done every part of this earth. They are the expansionists, just like it says in the book of Genesis. The Yaphites, the Japhites, the Europeans are expansionists. They expand their borders. Their name, Japhite, means to expand. That's exactly what they did. They're on every continent. Think of any other people, and I'm going to wait for this. Think of any other people that's going around anywhere in this world and they just take over another government and say, yep, this belongs to us now. And none of you other countries can do anything about it. You tell me one country that, not even Russia does that. China doesn't do that. And they even own their own island called Taiwan. And who's over there right now? The expansionists telling the Chinese, you can't go up into this island without a fight. You think that these expansionists cares about the Taiwanese? No, they care about what they have the Taiwanese doing on their behalf as slaves, making those computer chips. Soon as they move all those computer chips and not needing them anymore, guess what they're going to do? China, you can have that island. We're done with it. Appreciate you, though. That's the Roman way. That's the Roman way. But let me show you what I'm going to show you here in the book of Acts. About how racism is racism. It was right there in our face, but it just doesn't say it. Let me see here. Hold on. Acts chapter 21. Let's get a little bit of context of what we're reading here. This has to do with the apostle Shaul, also known as Paul. Let's read this. Let me see. Let's start from verse 26. This is, again, Acts chapter 1, verse 26. You can read it in your own time, but I'm going to read it for you right now. Then Shaul, I'm going to keep his original name. There was no reason to change his name to Paul. The Messiah never changed his name. Paul never changed his name from Shaul to Paul. Okay. Then Shaul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself with them, entered into the temple to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification. They just did the Nazirite vow, okay, where they shaved their heads, okay, and let the hair grow. That was called the vow of the Nazarene. Until that, an offering should be offered for every one of them. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Yahudim, which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people. Notice who stirred them up. The Yahudim, his people, the melanated brothers and sisters. Keep that in mind. We're not talking about Caucasians here when we're talking about this history. Okay, let's continue. And it stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, on Shaul. The Yahudim, the melanated, put hands on their own Shaul. Shaul was also melanated. I'm about to show you. Crying out, men of Yasharal, help. This is the man, this is Shaul, that teaches all men everywhere against the people, against Israel, and the Torah, the law, and this place, talking about the Temple Mount. And further brought Greek. Notice here it says Greeks. Now we're talking about some Caucasians. This is what they were known as, okay? They didn't call them peckerwoods. They didn't call them crackers. No, they called them from where they were, and certain people look a certain way from wherever you were. Just like if I said to you right now, the person that I just spoke to was Chinese, you would already know who I'm talking about. I don't have to tell you what they look like. I don't have to tell you, no, they don't have an afro. I don't have to tell you, no, they don't have no melanation in their skin. No, you already know their eyes are going to be slanted. They're most likely going to have dark hair that's going to be straight as straight can be. Okay. And they're going to have a very pale complexion. Let's continue. Brought Greeks also into the temple and has polluted this set apart place. For they have seen before him the city Tromovis, or however you say that, an Ephesian, whom they suppose that Shaul had brought into the temple. Okay, so again, Shaul being a melanated man, they can tell when somebody was being taken to the temple, like, whoa, wait a minute. That's a non-believer right there. He's not one of us, is what these Yahudim were saying. That man right there, just like you see the Hebrew Israelites do today, that's a Caucasian. That's a white T man or a white T woman. They're not allowed up here at the temple. That's what's being said here. Let's continue. Verse 31. And as they went about to unalive Shaul, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band that all Yahushalom was in uproar. So the chief captain is not a Jew. This is an Italian. Okay, let's continue. Because remember, the Romans were in charge of Jerusalem at the time. Verse 32, who immediately took soldiers and centurions. Who are centurions? The Italian regiment. And ran down unto them, down to these Jews, the Yahudim, that were fighting amongst each other over Shaul. And when they saw that the chief captains and the soldiers, they left beating Shaul. So the Jews stopped beating their own, who was Shaul, Paul. Then the chief captain, who again is an Italian, came near and took him, that is Shaul, and commanded him to be bound in 2 chains. So now Shaul is arrested. Paul is arrested and demanded who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing and some other. So they were screaming to say, he did this and he did that. And the captain was probably like, be quiet. I can't hear what's going on. Okay. And so he goes, when he could not know the certainty of the tumult, he commanded him to be carried away, commanded Paul, Shaul, to be carried away into the castle, into their barracks. And when he had came upon the stairs, when Paul came up to the stairs, so it was that he was by the soldiers for the violence of the people. Notice what it says here. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, away with him, away with him. So here it is, the Yahudim, the melanated brothers and sisters are saying of their own brother to do away with Shaul, to persecute Paul. And as Shaul was being led into the castle, into the barracks, he said unto the chief captain, who was an Italian, may I speak unto you? Who said, now this is what the captain said to Paul. Can you speak Greek? What? Notice what the next one said. Are you not an Egyptian? Are you not an Egyptian? Let me stop right there before y'all keep reading forward. First of all, this Italian can speak Greek. Paul was speaking Greek. Paul was a very smart man, very educated, spoke 3 different languages. We know he spoke Hebrew. We know he spoke Greek. Okay. And there's a possibility that he also spoke Aramaic. And he probably even spoke Latin for all we know. This man was multilinguistic. Notice that this Italian captain, notice what he said to him again. Verse 37. Can you speak Greek? Apparently he can, because he's speaking to him. This Italian captain thought he was an Egyptian. Now, again, why was this Italian saying that I thought you was an Egyptian? Could it be because of the color of his skin? Or do you think he had a headdress like Pharaoh on? Did he have a headdress like Pharaoh, or one of the so-called that you see on the movies of Hollywood, where they have them looking like the Romans? I mean, the Egyptians look a certain way. So is that the way he was looking? I don't think so. I don't think so. Shaul was melanated. This is why this captain said this to him. And if you continue to read verse 39, but Shaul said, I am a man which I'm a Yahudi from Tarsus, a city of Sicilia, a citizen of no mean city. I beseech you, suffer me or allow me to speak unto the people. And when he had given him the license or the reason to do so, Shaul stood on the stairs and he beckoned with a hand unto the people, pretty much bringing his hands up. You know how you do it, like calm down, be quiet. I'm about to talk to you. And he spoke unto them in the Hebrew, not Aramaic, not in the Assyrian tongue, but in the Hebrew tongue, the Abrit tongue, the original language. And then it says he goes on, he starts continuing to talk in the Hebrew language. Why do I bring all this up? Because again, in the scriptures, you're going to see how they looked at each other with eyes physically looking at the color of each other's skin, and they would know each other by where they were from. No different than what we're seeing today. The only difference is we're not using these political words of black and white, African American and Caucasian, all of this stuff. They don't use that. They use where you came from, like most of the people here, like President Trump. Are you German? Because you look like a German. He is from Germany, I think, by the way. But that's what it would be. There was no such thing as an American. If you're going to say somebody was an American, then that would be the Native Americans. And the same thing as the Aborigines over in Australia. They would be considered the true Australian, even though they gave that area that name, just like they gave this area, America, the name. And if you go back and you look at the historical record, even though there's some people in here that don't know their historical documents or haven't looked into it, they don't know what it means when, see, they want to whitewash the Egyptians because they have to make sure that the Egyptians are white, or they can't make sense of why the Jewish people are Caucasians, because those are supposedly the people who went down there to be slaves, right? These Jewish people that are Caucasians supposedly went down to Egypt to be slaves, right? So they have to apparently look like the Egyptians, or the Egyptians are supposed to look like them, but that's not the case. Because if you understand where the Egyptians came from, you know they were black as black can be. Let me show you. Can't have it both ways. In fact, let me read this out of the scriptures. We'll come back to King Jimmy when we need it. Let's go to Bereshit, also known as Genesis. We're going to go to chapter 10. Verse 13. You see what I have underlined right here? Mitzrayim brought forth Ludim, Ludia. We know that today to be Libya, okay? Lud. Now let me show you that in the KJV. And we know who the Hamites are. All you Caucasian Americans, that's what I'm going to start calling y'all, Caucasian Americans, because you like to call us African Americans, even though we're not from Africa. That's where we were found. That's where they took us from, but that's not our home. I'm going to start calling y'all Caucasian Americans for those of you. And I'm not talking to my Akis and Akodis who are of Yasharal. I'm talking about those who want to come in here and cause disturbance. But look at this right here. And again, same passage, verse 13. And Mizraim, right here, this is Egypt, begat Ludim and Ananim and Lahabim and Naphatim. These are all what we know as the Hamites. The Hamites are all dark melanated people. Go look at the hieroglyphics in those pyramids, other than the ones that they whitewashed over time. The original hieroglyphics, those Egyptians are black as black can be, even through their paintings, okay? If they wanted to show that they were white, they would just left it as the limestone color of the stone. But they didn't, because they looked a certain way. And so what I'm saying is what we just read in Acts chapter 21, or was it 22? Can't quite remember now. The Italian captain looked at Shaul, Paul, and he assumed that he was an Egyptian. And he was shocked that he heard the Greek language coming out of this melanated man. Now, all of this I bring up, again, because of what we're talking about, how we can all be led astray by the way we have been taught because they want us to see things with certain eyes. This Roman Empire has done a great job of deceiving us because they have been listening to the tongue of Satan, to the language of Satan, which is to bring about hatred one for another because of the color of skin, because of the texture of our hair, because of the way our nose look, or the way our lips are, or the way our eyes are fashioned. All of this because if we don't look like these people, then we must be the enemy. This is nothing but Satan. We're not fighting against flesh and blood. I'm not fighting against my Caucasian brothers and sisters. I'm not fighting against my Hamite brothers and sisters. I'm not even fighting against my own brothers and sisters. We're here to give love and love only. If you don't have love in your heart, you're not seeing eternal life. I don't care what you know of the scriptures. Aki Manuel, great to see you here, Ak. Yes. And Akodi, Shoshana, Susie, great to see you here, Akodi. So again, let me stand up for a second because I've been sitting down for a minute. As we get into this end time study, and we've been touching on it a little bit here and there, but I need you guys to see. To that talk, Cody, Jackie, I was probably reading your mind. Let's go back here to Matthew 24. Now I know it seems like we're all over the place, and in some ways we are, but I have to say this stuff to you so that you're understanding my train of thought of where I'm going as I'm speaking. And sometimes because again, I don't have notes that I'm following. I'm just going off the top of the dome and hoping and asking Abba Yahuah to lead me and guide me to share certain things and certain stuff that he wants me to bring out. But one of the most crucial things that our Messiah said here in Matthew 24, again, I shared it with you, is right here in verse 24. If possible, even the chosen ones could have been led astray to be deceived. So what do we have to understand? Notice what it says here. For false messiahs and false prophets shall arise. Remember what we just read, okay? Right here, he's talking about people who are saying that they are anointed, all right? And at the same time, about a particular person. So Aki Danielle was asking me earlier in another live, in our Aki Ethan's live, about if the anti-Mashiach is a physical being. We know he is. If anyone then says to you, verse 23, look, here is the Mashiach, or there, do not believe, for the false messiahs and false prophets shall arise. They shall show great signs and wonders. This is why I keep trying to tell our brothers and sisters of the Christian faith, well, I seen power done in the name of Jesus. I done seen demons cast out in the name of Jesus. I done seen limbs grow in the name of Jesus. I done seen the blind see eyes with the name of Jesus. All this stuff because they're seeing wonders and miracles. Do you not understand this is the way Satan comes? Because he knows that some of us are so shallow, all we have to see is something done in the name. So let me ask you a question. If someone was to be in your midst, and all of a sudden they started doing things in the name of Buddha, and you started seeing people seeing miraculous things happen, are you going to now become a follower of Buddha? Some of you probably would. Some of you just probably would, just because you are seeing and witnessing with your own eyes, okay? that these things are actually occurring. And that's enough for you to say, that's it. I'm no longer following Jesus. I'm following Buddha. Because Buddha is answering questions. I mean, he's answering palals. He's answering prayers. And he's giving his followers what they're asking for. You see, too many of us is playing our Messiah as a genie in the sky. And if he doesn't give us what we want, we move on to the next thing. Maybe it's a different type of Jesus. Maybe it's a different denomination, how they preach Jesus. Like, oh, the Catholics didn't get it right. I'm going to go over here to this non-denominational church where they are preaching Jesus the right way. You're still in the system. You're still part of the whore's religion. You're still following a blind guide. He says, see, I have forewarned you. What is he forewarning us of? That they're going to come with great signs and wonders. That's what gets most of us. That's how most of us get deceived, is by signs and wonders. So if anyone says to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Or look, he is in the inner rooms, speaking of their places of worship, do not believe. For as lightning comes from the east and shines to the west, so also shall the coming, paraiusa in the Greek, of the Son of Adam be. So when our Messiah comes, he's saying that as when you see lightning, anytime you guys seen a lightning storm, you know what I'm talking about. You go out there and you see a lightning flash, especially if there's cloud everywhere. You might not see the actual bolt of lightning, but you'll see the whole sky lit up. The clouds lit up everything. You don't even know where the lightning bolt is. It's in the cloud, but you just see everything from far as the east is to the west, everything illuminated. This is what the Messiah says. When he comes, that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. Verse 28, for wherever the dead body is, there the vultures shall be gathered together. Now, before we read verse 29, I'm going to go over here to the King Jimmy version because I want you to see this. Matthew 24, because there's certain words that have been used in Christianity, and I need you to see it in that frame of thought so that you can see that, for one, Christianity has been teaching this false doctrine of this pre-tribulation rapture, okay? And we know that the pre-tribulation rapture, as we have been taught in Christianity when I used to be a Christian, was a lie and still is a lie. Okay, let me show you this. Verse 21 says this, for then shall be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. When you start reading all of this, and we just read most of this here, okay, all the way down to here, verse 28. I was just reading about, for wheresoever the carcasses there will be eagles. In the translation that I read, it said vultures be gathered together. But notice what verse 29 says. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. What days? Well, we just read about it in verse 21. For then there shall be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days, listen to this pre-tribulation rapture, believers. Shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Adam in the Shama, in the heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the Shama with power and great esteem. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. That trumpet right there, Christians, is the last trumpet. The same passage that Christianity loves to teach about this pre-tribulation rapture is the same trumpet that you read about, that we're reading about here, that he is going to send his angels with the sound of a great trumpet. It's the same sound of the great trumpet that you're reading about in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, as it says right here. Let me read it, and we're going to come back to the passage that we was just reading from. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and onwards. What does it say here? Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. Okay? Same trumpet that we just read about here in Matthew chapter 24, immediately after the tribulation of those days. Okay? Right here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the son of Adam in the heaven, and they shall, and then all the tribes of the earth shall mourn, and they shall see the son of Adam coming in the clouds with heaven, with power and great esteem. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, the last trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. The way that Christianity explains this passage, they say that when he goes to gather his elect from the four winds of the heavens, it's talking about the so-called tribulation saints. Ooh, that's so nice to use another phrase to make all of this make sense. You see, the problem is that when you see this here, it's talking about the resurrection. This is when he comes. Same passage that you're reading in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 51 and onwards. Again, let's go to verse 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound. That's that same trumpet that we just read about here, right here. Okay. Great sound of a trumpet, verse 31. And that last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Same passage as we see in 1 Thessalonians. Again, Christians don't want to have these passages make sense for them, so they're going to continue to believe in the lie, and they're going to wait until they find themselves saying, I thought we were supposed to be gone. Why am I over here having to deal and make a choice between taking the mark or not? Because Satan wanted you not to be ready. And you didn't want to believe the truth. And so hence why you're going to get caught with your pants down. Notice what it says here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. For this we say unto you by the word of Yahuah, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of our master, notice this, it has to do with the coming of our master, shall not prevent them or go before them who are asleep, those who are in the grave. For the Messiah himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of Yahuah Elohim. The same trumpet that we read about here in Matthew chapter 24, verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. This is the same passage that we're reading here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16, was it? Yep, 16. And the master himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of the mighty one, and the dead in the Messiah shall rise first. Okay? Then which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. Remember, he says he's coming with clouds. Okay? And we're going to meet him in the air. That's what it says here. We're going to meet him in the air. And so shall we ever be with the master. Well, let's look at this last trumpet. Where is the last trumpet? Where can we find the last trumpet? It's in the book of Revelation, chapter 11. Let's go to the last trumpet. It's called the seventh trumpet. Okay. Will we find there about a resurrection? We sure do. Notice what it says here. And give me a second. Oh, here it is. Verse 15. This is chapter 11, verse 15 of Revelation. This is the last trumpet. Remember, there's only 7 trumpets, and this last trumpet, which is the 7th trumpet, has to do with the resurrection. And the 7th angel sounded, and there was great voices in the heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our master and of our Messiah, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Yahuah on their seats fell on their faces and worshiped Yahuah Elohim, saying, we give you thanks, O Yahuah, the mighty one, Al Shaddai, which is almighty, which is and which was and is to come, because with your power you do reign. Verse 18, and the nations were angry, and your wrath has come. Notice what it says here, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and then that they should give reward unto the servants of the prophets and to the saints and to them that fear your name, Yahuah, not Lord and God. Those are not names, those are titles. Small and great, should destroy them which destroy the earth. So now, let's go back over here. Notice what it says here. Again, this is the seventh trumpet. This is the last trumpet. This is the trumpet of the mighty one. This is that trumpet, okay? Again, you notice here it says it was the time for the dead that they should be judged. How can the dead be judged if they're not resurrected? They had to be resurrected. And why? This isn't those that don't believe. These are those who do believe, because notice what it says. It says that you should give reward to your servants, the prophets, and to the saints. So it's talking about the Old Testament and the New Testament. So much goes for the pre-tribulation rapture, as you've been taught, Christians. And I can back it up again, even with Shaul's teachings, Paul's teachings. He says the same thing, and we went over it, but sometimes you got to remove the scales off of your eyes to be able to even see or notice it, because we are so caught up into tradition that we can't even get an understanding of what is being told to us. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Notice what Shaul is talking about. He's talking about the second coming. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming, parayusa, of our master Yahusha, and by our gathering together unto him. Okay? Shaul is not talking about for the tribulation saints. He's not talking about something that's supposed to happen or occur after the tribulation of those days, as if you're supposed to be here and you're going to be taken up before the tribulation. That's not, he's talking about this is inclusive. This is one time where those who are part of the first resurrection is going to happen, and it happens at his second coming. And this is why he says, by our gathering together with him, that you be not soon shaken in mind or troubled, or neither by spirit or by word or by a letter, as if from us, as if the day of Yahuah, not Christ, is at hand. What is the day of Yahuah? That's when the dead is resurrected. This is what we're talking about. And so then he tells you that certain things must happen before we are gathered to the Messiah. What has to happen? It says first there's going to be a falling away that's going to happen. So notice what he says here in verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day, what day? The day of the Messiah is not going to happen until there's a falling away. Well, we know the falling away already started. Those are those who defect from the truth. And then it goes on and says, and that the man of sin, or the man of perdition, the man of lawlessness, that's what sin is, those who don't follow the law. That's where we started with all of this. Those of you who are Christians who are being taught not to follow the law, you are also a child of sin. You are a child of lawlessness. You do not follow the Torah. That's what sin is. Those who don't follow the law are Torahless. They are sin, or they are dealing with sin. Because again, what is the definition of sin? The transgression of the law. For where there is no law, there is no transgression. There is no sin. But we have been given a law. The law don't save you, but you are to keep them. The Messiah's blood is what allows you to continue on living. And so here you see again that this has to happen first. This is why you and I and everybody else that's on this Aratz, on this earth, we are going to witness what we're getting ready to see right now. The next thing that you're going to know and I'm going to know, there's going to be a war. We're seeing the beginning stages of this world war that's going to take peace from the entire world, as it says in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, the second seal, the red horse. We're seeing the beginnings of this. When it culminates to its fulfillment of what it's supposed to be, out of that comes what we know that they've been talking about for a very long time, this new world order. It is going to be through that new world order that this man of lawlessness is going to take the helm. And when he takes the helm, they're going to start building this temple. They build this temple. The next thing you know, we're also going to be given a mark for those who accept it, because of the tragedies of war. You're going to have a rationing of food. You're going to have a ration of gas. You're going to have a rationing of energy. And the only way you can even tap into any of these things, you're going to have a mark. You're going to have to get your portion. And you can't get your portion unless you have a mark to show that you are one who is in agreement with the empire. This is what you're all witnessing. We are all witnessing the birth pains of this right now. The Lego blocks are coming together, spiritually speaking. Thank you, Akiel. The Lego blocks that we're talking about is what is being erected as we are speaking. So many people, especially of the Seventh-day Adventist, believe it's going to be a Sunday worship law. I hate to bust your bubbles, SDA, and those who follow Ellen G. White's doctrine. You are in error. You're going to find out with the rest of the world that you are in error. Nobody's going to be going up to you SDA people and saying, what day do you worship on? If you worship on SAT day, then you can't shop here. You can't buy here and you can't sell nothing here. Really? You think it's going to be that mundane that they're just going to have you just check you to find out what day you worship? No, not even. This is a physical mark. They could care less who you call upon. If you give your allegiance to them, you're going to show it by taking a mark. That simple, that plain. Anything else, you're just lying to yourself. You're caught into the tradition of men. We are seeing the building blocks happening right before our very eyes. The social credit score that they're doing in China is the beta test bed of what they're getting ready to do to the entire earth. If they can do it with 1.5 billion people, what's a measly 370 million in the United States of America? What does it mean? How are they going to be able to disarm every American without taking their gun rights away, other than taking their food supply? Because after all, many of us don't have what we know as farms anymore. Most of us aren't raising animals anymore for our meat and for our milk and for our butter. Everything that we get is from corporate America. And who runs the corporations? These same people that are calling themselves Jews and are not, and they are the synagogue of Satan. They're the same people who will not allow us to freely serve Yahuah in the way he wants us to serve him. They give us all this messed up doctrine of Christianity and the messed up doctrines of Judaism and the messed up doctrines of Islam and Buddhism and everything else, which is Confucianism, straight up confusion. This is happening right now in our face. So the abomination that's going to cause desolation is the third temple. When you see that temple being erected, Mishpachah, it is time to flee. If you wait until the day that Yahusha says, Matthew chapter 24, you just might be too late. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Put on your spiritual eyes. Notice what he says here. In fact, let me get out of this King Jimmy. Let me get back in here to a better translation. Let me sit on down. What is the mark? The mark is going to be a digital ID. It's going to be a physical digital ID that is going to connect you with the internet. This is why everything is going wireless. This digital platform that they have put onto this earth is not from Yahuah, it's from Satan. This is why they're spending $500 billion on what we know as the Stargate. The Stargate is the opening of this portal to allow Satan and his minions out into our dimension. But that's not going to happen until this war happens in the heavens to allow this to happen. It's all going to culminate at the same time. It's all going to culminate at the same time. But notice what it says here in Matthew 24. Let me take you here. Let me find it. Let me find it. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. So notice where we're at right now. This is where we're at. And you shall begin to hear, this is Matthew 24, verse 6, and you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fightings. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. Right here, for nation shall rise against nation. This is what's happening right now. We're not talking about United Snakes of America going against Venezuela or the United Snakes of America going against China or Russia. No, this is ethnic group rising against ethnic group. The word nation here comes from the Greek word ethnos, ethnicity. Reign against reign. Now, this is talking about country against country. But this right here, nation shall rise against nation. This is talking about civil war. This is a war between the skin colors. Reign against reign. This has to do with kingdoms. This has to do with governments. That's what you're seeing when you see United Snakes going against Venezuela or Iran, which is the next one that they're getting ready to go to. This is, I'm telling you, we are about to see the stuff get ready to go down. They're not done with Iran. They're getting ready to go. There is ships right now as we speak that are on their way to the Persian Gulf. They're getting ready to jump it off. This is why they have civil disorder over there in Tehran and all over the place in Iran for that matter. It is prime for the pickings. How do you get into a land? You destroy it from within, just like they're doing here in the United Snakes of America right now. A nation against itself cannot stand. That's what's happening right now. It's not just in Iran. It's happening right in our backyard, right here in the good old United Snakes of America. And there shall be scarcities of food. When does the scarcity of food take place? After this war. Nation or kingdom against kingdom. This lines up with Revelation chapter 6. Most of you already know the first seal, that was COVID-19. That was the coronavirus. That was the first seal. The second seal is what we're watching right now. This other horse, this fiery red one that went out, was given, who sat on it, to take peace from the earth, not just certain locations. This is an entire earth that is going to be literally in chaos, and that they should slay one another. And a great sword was given to him. Okay. But the next thing is scarcity of food. The third seal. Heard the third living creature say, come and see. And I looked and saw a black horse, and he who sat on it was holding a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living beings saying, a measure for wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. Again, you go back here to Matthew chapter 24, and this is exactly what you're seeing. The same steps, the same things are happening. Okay. Again, what does it say here? Let's go up here. Nation shall rise against nation. That's ethnic group against ethnic group. Kingdom against kingdom, or country against country. This is what we're seeing right now. But out of this country against country, which is the second seal, there shall be scarcities of food. That's the third seal. Deadly diseases. That was the first seal. And earthquakes in many places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. This is what we're getting ready to see. This is the beginning of birth pains. So from the first seal, the second seal, the third seal, it's the beginning of birth pains. And it says, and all these are the beginning. And it says, and they shall deliver you up to affliction and unalive you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Well, that sounds very similar to what we're seeing here. That would be the fifth seal. And he opened the fifth seal, and I saw under the slaughter of the beings of those who have been slain for the word of Yahuah Elohim and for the witness, the testimony which they held. And they cried out loud with a loud voice, saying, how long, O master, set apart and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? Again, this is that portion right here. Right here. And they shall deliver you up to affliction and unalive you, and you shall be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many shall stumble, and they shall deliver up one another, and shall hate one another. Who's going to be delivering us up? Oh, that might be your family. That might be your friends. That might be your coworkers. That might be your neighbors. That might be somebody who sees that you don't have a mark. Physical. Not you not worshiping on Sunday because of a Sunday law. Has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Stop thinking the way you have been taught, Christians. All your denominational teachings is a lie. You need to come out of her, like it says in Revelation chapter 18, verse 4, and you need to see with new spiritual eyes so that you no longer are being deceived by Satan's trickery that he has given to us through religion. This is what he's been doing since the very beginning, since Babylon has always caused people's eyes to steer away and stray away from the truth. No different. No different. And many false prophets, meaning those who go out with the word, shall rise up and lead many astray. When is that going to happen? Right after that. They're going to be telling everybody, just like it was in the days of King Nebuchadnezzar, worship him, bow down and worship him. These John Hagees and all these other people, T.D. Jakes, all of them, they're going to be pointing the finger to whoever this guy is in the flesh, who is Satan incarnate in this man, and say, that's who we need to worship. That's who we need to worship. This stuff has been going on. They've been promoting this for thousands of years. This is the work of Satan. One generation dies, the next generation picks it up. How is that possible? Because Satan is the one who's at the helm. He's the one who's teaching this. He's the one who's giving them their agenda of what they're supposed to follow, their curriculum in their seminary schools, telling them this is the gospel. This is how you preach the good news, if you will. And then you see people being unalived in the name of Christianity, and you're like, see, there's proof. This has got to be the truth, because it says in scripture that we're going to be persecuted. And Muslims are being persecuted too. You just might not know it because you're seeing everything from the eyes of a Christian. Buddhists are also being persecuted too because you're not looking at it with Buddhist eyes. You're looking at everything with Christian eyes. So you only see what benefits you. Everything is relative to you as a person. You're not thinking outside the box. Satan will use that stuff as trickery to get you to be led astray. Because you got your eyes on a certain group of people that are being unalived by another group of people. And you say, well, that must make it the truth then, because it says in the scriptures that we're going to be unalived. It didn't say you were going to be unalived. You thought it was supposed to be Christianity. It don't say Christianity nowhere in the book, except for those that put it in there and said they were first called Christians in Antioch.
We know this.
Hold on one second.
According to the Bible,
this thing came back on.
The once ancient Roman Empire,
let me find it,
will rise again, and there arose.
Oh man, I got all kinds of stuff coming up. Hold on. I don't know why all of that just came on. I apologize, you guys. But this is talking about the people who know the truth. This is how we are going to get tested. This is what the whole Great Tribulation is all about. The word Great Tribulation is the great testing. Just like Yahuah has tested all his people that came before us, every generation of believers had to be tested for what they believed in to see if they were going to stay true to him and to the word, or if they were going to deviate. And right now we got a mass exodus of people who have deviated from the truth, and they call themselves Christians. And it is not until now that the wool has been pulled over off of our eyes so that we can call Christianity for what it is. It is the satanic religion that has been given to us by Satan, because it has changed everything. And if you don't believe it, then you're stuck in the lie, and you're going to find out on that day of judgment. I don't know what else to tell you, but that you need to come out of her. That's all I can say. And if you don't believe it, you're going to find out on that day when you stand before him, because you did not want to hear the truth. You're not going to hear this truth in a brick and mortar building. 100% you're not going to find it in any brick and mortar building with a cross and a steeple, or a crescent and a steeple. You're not going to find it. You're in the religion of man. You got to come out of those religions. Those religions are leading many people astray. Those religions have got you caught up into their doctrine. That's why you can't see the truth when it's staring you right in the face. I think out of everything that I'm sharing with you all today, you're going to have to realize something. You're going to have to realize that you're going to have to get on your knees, and you're going to have to ask Abba Yahuah, for those of you who don't see the truth, to ask him to reveal the truth. And you need to say it from a sincere place. Don't be saying like, well, God, I heard this guy on YouTube and I think he's lying, but show me the truth. I don't want to be led astray. Show me the truth. Are you coming from a sincere heart when you're saying that? Or are you just saying that because maybe part of your prayer, I was about to say palal. Some of you don't understand what I'm saying. If you hear me say palal, it means to pray in Hebrew. Your prayer might be to say, oh, Father, all these people that are coming in with this new doctrine and it's new to you, but it's not new. This is the original from the beginning, the message that was given to us and our forefathers, but you don't want to believe it. So you would talk something like, have their eyes to see what they don't understand, and may Jesus and Jesus only be lifted up, and every man be lifted down or brought down. Let every man be a liar, but only you be true. God. All this stuff that we're saying. And people say, well, I speak English. It's not about the English. It's not about the English. It's about your heart. It's about your mindset. It's either you believing and accepting the truth, or you're going to believe and accept the lie. Now, there's many ways we can go with this end time prophecy. There's many places we can go with what the limited information that I understand and the knowledge that I have, other than what I know is not the truth. I go back through the decades of times that I was in Christianity and the teachings that I have done through eschatology, which is end time events. And now that my eyes are open, I'm looking back and I'm like, what a fool I was, how dumb and stupid I was to believe all of this without checking the information, because all I did was regurgitate the same nonsense that was told to me, and now I'm telling it to others until he opened up my eyes. When Yahuah opened up my eyes, family, I started seeing the scriptures totally different. And it'll happen for you as well. You don't need anyone to teach you. If you are truly seeking him and you are hearing from the Spirit, from the Ruach, you are not going to be led astray. 100% you're not going to be led astray. But if you continue on going to their masses, going to their services, continuing to be in re-indoctrinated over and over and over again, every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Sunday, every Wednesday, and you keep that up and you keep going to these denominational teachings, you're never going to see the truth. You got to come out of her first. You have to. You have to literally take a sabbatical, as they would say, remove yourself from that place of worship and just see it with your own eyes. Read it for yourself. Stop allowing them to force feed you their food, because you are not getting the right spiritual nourishment. John Doe, you say, now you're speaking truth. Well, I have been speaking truth for a while. You might not have believed all of it, John Doe, but it is true. Don't take John Doe off here. I'm saying that right now. All of you who are my moderators, don't take John Doe off yet, okay? Because John Doe, you just caused a very big sin to yourself by saying that Yahuah is junk. I think you might want to rephrase what you just said. You have taken the name that is above all names and you called it junk. I think you might want to rephrase that. You see, I don't have to fight for Yahuah. Yahuah fights for himself. And when you have somebody that says something like that, like this John Doe character, that is wrong. Okay? Oh, you're saying it's true too, John Doe? Well, you said, and I apologize. You say you're trying to help me? Okay, well, I don't really need help, but let me just say this. The way you just put that together, you said Yahuah and junk. Now, I might have been confused. Please set me straight. Are you saying that the name Yahuah is wrong? Because I don't want to false accuse you of something that you did not mean. So you have the right to set yourself straight here. You still have a little to learn. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to learn, John Doe. You might want to take a little bit of that medication yourself, because you sound like you already know everything. Don't sound like you have a humble heart to me. As a lot of people like to say, John Doe, and I'm going to say it to you. Yes. Let me say this to you, John Doe. If you have the truth, then you should have your own live and you should be teaching. Do you hear what I'm saying? If you have the truth, John Doe, you need to have a live and you need to start teaching. Because what you're doing right now, which is being distracting, you're not doing anything but causing division, and the Creator is against anyone who brings discord amongst the brethren. That's an abomination to him. No, what you're doing is causing a distraction. You're not speaking from your own live. You're over here causing distraction, my friend. Okay, now you guys can get rid of John Doe. I appreciate you. You ain't helping me at all. You're hurting yourself is what you're doing. We'll see you later, John Doe. Okay, so let us continue. I want to thank my moderators for your patience, and I want to thank you all for helping me out with what's going on in here, because again, all we want to do is open up the eyes of those who need to have their eyes open. Not everyone's going to understand this truth as plainly can be seen with John Doe, hence why he comes in here with a name like John Doe. I will say this again. You have to get this truth into your heart. Come out of Christianity, okay? And again, I know that that's ruffling the feathers wrong with some of you, but please, 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 please look into the history of Christianity. You're going to find out for yourself that the Messiah's name is not Jesus. His last name or his title is not Christ. What he gave us was not Christianity. He never told us to do away with the law. He never told us not to keep the Sabbath. He never told us that we can make the Sabbath whatever day we want. He never told us that we can eat anything we want. I mean, I can go on and on about the things that we have been taught in Christianity that goes fly in the face of our Abba Yahuah and him giving us his teachings. Yes, appreciate it, Ak. Yes. We are coming up on our third hour, and we're getting ready to shut it down. We're getting ready to go over to TikTok, as we normally do, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is be 5 o'clock 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. I want to share this with you as well before we pray. And pretty much what I shared with you guys about the abomination of desolation was kind of like surface, because it's a whole lot, and it would take me more than just these 3 hours to get into it. Hopefully in the near future we can get more into it, one subject at a time. But know again that the abomination that causes desolation is going to be the third temple. They are preparing it as we speak. They're getting ready to erect it, but certain things must happen, like this world war. Once the world war is over, they are going to build the third temple. They're going to set it up. They're going to also start marking every man, woman, and child. All of this is right over the horizon, people. All of this is now available through this technology. Yeah, they've had computers since the 60s. Yes, they've had digital imprints of digitizing money for quite some time. They've been going towards the cashless society for some decades now. But what they didn't have was a program that can link everything together and not have to have a man sitting there and manning the station to see what every person is doing. Now they have artificial intelligence that is able to do what millions of people can do in a split second. This is what they're doing with this AI technology. The time is now, people. This is why they're putting so much money behind the infrastructure of these data centers, because they are about to keep every single thing that we have done, every keystroke, every time, even snoring when you have your phone next, all of that is being recorded. There is nothing that these things that is picking up or that we're outputting or inputting that is not going to be stored somewhere, so they can use it later on for a later use to blackmail you, to get you to bow down to the system, or they're going to expose all your bones out of your closet. This is how they're getting ready to do it. Just like they're doing to the politicians, like they did with Epstein and all that stuff, that honeypot with the Epstein thing with these little girls and all that. It's the same thing that they're doing right now, that they're preparing, that they're going to mark every man, woman, and child. And if you don't get marked, we're going to bring out all your stuff. We're going to embarrass you. This is how they're going to get you. And if that don't work, then they're going to try to unalive you. And if that don't work, they ain't got nothing else. They ain't got nothing else. Joanna, I have not yet, but I will as I get ready to get off. I will as I get ready to get off and we get ready to go on TT. We're going to have open mic nights tonight. And through that, I will be playing music here and there between people. So we're going to kind of try to knock out two things with one stone. And again, whoever comes up, we're going to try to make sure I might have to limit some of the things that you guys say, because I know some of us, we can go on there and you want to share so much, and it's wonderful. But when I got a lot of people behind us that are also wanting to share, I need you guys to share what you want really quickly. Get your thought process out, testimonies, everything, and I'm going to try to limit to about 10 minutes per person. That way we can get more people to speak and we don't run out of time. But we're going to go a little while tonight. All right. Okay. Yes. Great to see you here, Aki. Chris Yahoo. That was our Aki that just got immersed here last week. Was it last week, Aki? Wow, I'm telling you, time goes by so fast. I think it might have been 2 weeks. Boy, I tell you, it goes by so quick. Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Well, if you've heard this for the first time and you're not a follower, please subscribe. We come on every weekend here on YouTube, and then we go on to TikTok only on SAT days. Unless something else is occurring that I might go on there for another reason. But I want to thank all of you for coming in and listening. And may Yahuah continue to guide you and keep you. May he open up your eyes of your understanding to his truth. We don't have too much time left. You're not going to hear people like myself sharing this much longer. So whatever you have, you need to build upon it. You don't need me. You don't need anybody else but Yahuah by his spirit to teach you and lead you and guide you into his truth. It's there. It's there for the taking, but you got to reach out for it. He's not just going to give it to you. You got to reach out. You need to show him. Ask, seek, and knock again for that information, and he will reveal it. I'm Ak Jimmy, also known as Brother Jimmy, and we are the ambassadors of Yah.
Sharper than fishing hooks, stacking souls, taking tolls, leaving devils shook. Who we be? Messengers, truth bringers, that's the key. Unlocking minds, leaving darkness in debris. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. Verses be thumping, shofars be blowing, beat be steady. Word power every hour, truth already. Planted deep secrets keep fools unsteady. We elevate till your faith be ready. No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah.
Hallelujah. Yahuah.
No compromise. Open your eyes, see the light. Walk tall, stand strong with all your might. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Spreading love from near to far. We are the ambassadors, ambassadors of Yah. Listen close, hear us, yeah.
All right, Mishpachah, I will see you on the other side on TikTok. Blanca, that song is one of my originals. It's called We Are the Ambassadors of Yah. It's available. Just email me at ambassadorsofyah@gmail.com and I will send it to you free of charge. Shalom, Mishpachah. Shalom. See you on the other side on TT.